Hey guys, it's Kevin in my review for Happiest Season. So what Happiest Season's essentially about is we center on this lesbian couple. We have Abby and Harper, and basically Christmas is coming around. Abby really doesn't have anywhere to stay because her parents have recently died. So Harper gives her the chance to come stay with her, and Abby's finally going to get the chance to meet Harper's parents, and Abby wants to take this opportunity to potentially propose to her girlfriend. But all of that is ruined when Harper reveals to her that her parents actually don't know that Harper is a lesbian, so Abby now basically has to pretend that the two of them are not dating, and basically, hoping that Harper will eventually reveal her secret to her parents and whatnot. So, Happiest Season overall, I was very excited for this film. I thought this looked like a really fun film overall. Seeing the cast and knowing that it was finally coming out got me very excited. Christmas films like this, a lot of the time don't usually... there have been some good Christmas films out there, but this really seemed like one that was going to be something very different and special, and I was really hoping that's what this could be, and it very much was. Happiest Season is easily one of the most feel-good films of the entire year that I think is definitely also one of the funniest, and a film that I think is going to appeal to many people, but we're just getting to right now, and easily one of the best parts of this film has to be the cast here. I mean, really everyone is fantastic. I don't think there's a single weak link in this entire ensemble overall, but let's first talk about Kristen Stewart, who I can't believe people still are not recognizing how good she is as an actress. I've heard people say they're so surprised by her performance in this, but I'm not really, because I feel like she's always been killing it besides films like Twilight, obviously. She really has shown that she is such a fantastic actress, and she does a really good job here as the character of Abby, someone who you can tell, isn't into Christmas all that much. We get into that very early on, but she really does care a lot for Harper, and she wants to make sure that their relationship can go to the deeper place that she wants it to. But you also see how much of a struggle it is for her to do that. She's very fun in the role, but you also care a lot for her, and I think Stewart did a really good job of balancing those two things. She knows when to be funny, but she also knows when this character needs to be authentic and real, and I just really liked the balance there. I thought she did a really great job. She has some moments where she's not even really saying that much, but you really can just tell how Abby is feeling in every given moment, and again, it really is due to how stellar Stewart really is in that role, and I really like what she ended up doing here. And then Mackenzie Davis as well. I mean, this is another actress that I've been praising a ton since, like, the Holland Catch Fire days, and she is so good in this role. I really liked her in this role as Harper, someone who you can tell really does want to be with her girlfriend, but just is having a really hard time in revealing this secret to her family. She's done a lot of things in her past that she very much does regret, and I really thought Davis captured all of that very well. Again, you get the sense that Harper's not a horrible person, but at the same time, she's someone that isn't really being as receptive to her girlfriend as she should be, and I think Davis did a really good job at portraying all of that. I really liked her work in this film, especially towards the back half of this film. I think she has some really meaty work to deal with, and I think she did a really good job there, and the chemistry between these two couldn't be any better. They just have such natural and real chemistry to where you think they actually were dating in real life. And I thought they did such a good job in this film. There wasn't a single moment where I didn't feel the love that these two had for each other, and I think they both did such a phenomenal job. I think definitely that's one of the best things about this movie is really their chemistry. But another big standout of this film for me has to be Daniel Levy, who, look, I've seen him in a few things. I've heard how good he is in things like Schitt's Creek and things like that, but oh my god, he was such a huge standout. Whether it's him attending to Abby's apartment, trying to take care of these fish, but not really doing a good job with that, or like this list of all these people that like he's kind of stalking. He is just such a riot throughout this whole movie, but then he also has some of the most authentic moments throughout the film. There's a really good monologue he has in the third act, and it's gonna bring some people near tears because of just how good he is at delivering it, and I just really liked what he ended up doing here. He played the part part of Abby's best friend very well, and I just really liked his role in this movie. He was such a consistent standout for me, and definitely, I think, is someone that a lot of people are going to remember after watching this movie. And I hope he's able to get more roles, because I think he's a lot of fun here for sure. But the rest of the cast also does some fantastic work. Alison Brie is always good in films, and that's definitely still the case here as Harper's eldest sister. I thought she was really good. Aubrey Plaza, I thought, definitely did a really good job here as well. Someone who was also a really big standout, though, was Mary Holland, who, oh my god, I really haven't seen her in much of anything. But she was fucking hysterical here. She plays this character, Jane, who is the youngest sister of this family. She's very weird. She's very out there, but I don't know what it was about her, but every single scene with her just had me dying of laughter. I absolutely loved her in this movie. I hope she does more comedic work in the future, because she definitely has it in her, and I loved what she ended up doing here. I thought she for me was, if it wasn't Dan Levy, it was her in terms of like the big comedic moments. I thought she was just really good in this film. I liked her a lot in this film. Mary Steenburgen and Victor Garber as well do a really good job here at playing these parents who you can tell are not the most accepting, and I think they did a good job with that. Burrow Mosley's very good here. Really, like I said, the entire cast, everyone really does an incredible job in this film. I don't think there's a weak performance in the bunch, and I think that really helps in this film being as good as it is. But now we gotta get to the directing and the writing, which that's easily one of the best things about this film for sure. Clea DuVall's directing is something that I think should definitely be commended in this film, because you look at the plot of this film and you think this would be like a really serious and emotional drama, and normally it would be, but somehow DuVall is able to make it so this is very much a comedy. This is a very light-hearted film, and I think she does a really good job with that. She finds a way to find the funny in a very serious situation, and I really did like that about the film. The film is frequently very funny. The film, I think, is very uplifting, and definitely is a film that I think is going to put a smile on a lot of people's faces. I myself had a smile almost throughout the entire film, and I really did like that here. But she isn't afraid to go for the more dramatic moments as well. The film isn't afraid to get dark when it needs to, and I appreciate that from DuVall, but she never tries to make one overbear the other. It always feels like they complement each other very nicely, and there's also so much passion you can tell that she put into this film, and I really do admire that about a director, but especially someone like DuVall, who just was able to really turn something like this on its head in a really brilliant way. I think that really is what sticks out to me about this film, is the way that she was able to direct it, and I just really liked her directing here a lot. The writing, though, as well here, I think is very well done, because yes, the premise is one that we've seen done before, but not quite to the extent that we see it in this movie. I mean, Abby as a character, I think, is far more fleshed out than you're really expecting. You know, we get the sense early on in the film that she's not really someone that is all that into Christmas. She's had a personal tragedy of her own, and little things like that, I think, build up her character very well, but you also get the sense that she, you know, isn't used to environments like this. She's used to people that are very accepting. She's used to people that are going to support her in this situation. And Harper's had it in a much different light. And I liked seeing the contrast between these two characters. You know, you get the sense that this is a couple that knows each other, but there's a lot of stuff they still don't know. And I really liked that about Abby as a character, the way that she's kind of finding out things about Harper, and it's making her understand Harper a little bit more, but also makes her start to change her feelings about Harper. I thought was really well done, and I think they did a good job in terms of the story here. It never feels like it's getting too ridiculous either. You know, it always feels like this is a, unfortunately, believable situation that I think some people still do have to deal with today. and I think it's very well handled here. But like I said, the film is also so funny. There's so many hilarious moments throughout this film. Yes, there are things we've seen before, but it's done very well here. I liked a lot of the moments here. Like I said, whether it's little stuff like, say, Daniel Levy's character, who really is like the skeptic in the film. Like, he's someone that is very doubtful about the relationship with Abby and Harper, and he's, not really sure why she's putting herself in this situation. And I thought he did a good job as that, but then him also trying to take care of these fish and all this stuff. Again, there's so much good comedy there, or just the family in general. I mean, this is a very weird family. They are very conservative, as you would expect, but there's more going on with them than you think. Victor Garber's character is trying to run for mayor, so he's a bit of a perfectionist in that way, and you really do get to see that throughout the film, just how much that they are obsessed with that, and it's so fun to watch, and I really appreciate that in terms of the comedy. The film just had me laughing consistently, and I think there's a lot of funny moments throughout this film. And a lot of the humor, yes, is from the situation itself, which is portrayed very well. But again, this family is very strange. Characters, like I said, Jane, for example, is just really weird. And there's a lot of moments with her of just like dropping things and just doing the weirdest shit. And it just always had me dying. And I think the film really delivers in terms of its comedy. I think that's definitely one of the things that a lot of people are going to love in this film. It's consistently funny for sure. And I think it's probably one of the funniest films of the year overall. But I also was impressed by just how much depth they give to so many of these characters. And look, something that a lot of people have brought up is that, yes, this family does frequently treat Abby like shit, but I feel like that's very much the point. I mean, early on, we get the sense that this is a family that is all about perfection, and they feel like they need to do certain things to, be worthy of their parents' affections. Case in point, Alison Brie, a character that I really didn't like at first. I found her to be very spoiled and entitled and just really annoying. It has a lot more going on than I really did expect. There's a really good revelation with her in the third act, and I was kind of like, oh, okay, I get what they're trying to do here. So, yes, a lot of these characters throughout a good portion of the film are not likable, and they're very rude towards Abby, but I think the film does a good job of showing why they are this way. Not necessarily trying to justify their behavior, but just getting you a sense of who all these characters were, and I really did feel like as this film came to a close, I understood who everyone was. I understood why they were the way they were. So yes, I mean, there are many moments where Harper is out of line, but I don't think the film is trying to act like she shouldn't be called out for that. I think the film does a good job of showing that, yeah, she did fuck up here, and I think that's something that works really well in this film. So I really didn't have too much of an issue with that overall, and I think, again, as bad as the family is, I think the film does a good job of really getting you to understand everyone, and that's something I did appreciate about this film. Even a character like Jane, who is so utterly ridiculous, she's very weird and eccentric, and she has all these weird activities that she does, and she's kind of like, not necessarily the black sheep of the family, but like the big disappointment of the family. Even she has a little bit more going on than we really do expect, and I really did appreciate that about her character. The film does a good job of showing these characters, but never trying to mock them, never trying to make them feel one-dimensional. They always have extra layers to them, and they take them all very seriously, and I really did like that about this film. The film really did take its time to dive into everyone, and I think that just made the film that much better overall. Yeah, I think that the writing here is just very good overall. I think that, again, there's a lot of fun moments throughout this movie. It's something that is definitely... It's a very uplifting tone, and even the message of the film as well, I think is also very well delivered. You don't really understand what the message is until the film ends, but I think it's a message that is definitely going to touch a lot of people, and I think a lot of people are going to relate to, and I really appreciate that a lot here for sure. So yeah, I really liked the writing in this film. The cinematography here, I think, is also really well done. There's a lot of great shots throughout this film, and I just think in terms of cinematography, there's a lot of of really great moments here. The score as well is part of the reason why this film is so uplifting and positive, and I think Ann Doherty did a really good job with that here. You know, she always finds a way to keep things in a more positive light, and I think that's something that was definitely very well done within this film. And the editing as well. I think this film is extremely well paced. It's basically as long, I think, as it needs to be. I was pretty much into it the entire time. There wasn't really a moment that dragged for me in terms of this film, and I thought they just did a really good job in terms of the editing. I really liked the way this film was paced. In terms of flaws with this film, because it's definitely not a perfect movie, there are a couple things that do bring it down. One of them being that although I did enjoy Aubrey Plaza's character in this film, who is the ex-girlfriend of Harper, and we really do get to see her and Abby bond a little bit over some of the stuff that Harper might have still been doing that caused the downfall of the relationship, I did feel her character ultimately was a little bit underused. She kind of disappears after a little bit, and I would have liked to see a little bit more of her. I thought she was definitely a very intriguing character, and I think there was more they could have done there that they just really didn't. And I also feel there's a couple other plot revelations that I would have liked to delve into more. I think they could have done more with some of the characters in this movie, and I think that would have made things all the better overall. Also, yes, there are some very cliched moments in this film that we have seen a lot of times before, but I felt like the film did enough to make it feel fresh, make it feel special, especially the fact that it's centered around an LGBTQ plus relationship. I mean, that's something that's very special. We don't see that enough in holiday films. It's crazy to me that we're just now seeing that. Like, I know Hallmark recently just did one as well, which, you know, I don't really care much for Hallmark much at all, but I still think it's really cool that that representation is finally happening, and I think Happiest Season is a very important film in that regard, and I think it's going to appeal to many for that reason. But really, other than that, I think this is such a fantastic film. It's a film that I think is going to uplift many. It's a film that I think is one that we've seen done before, but it's done in a very positive way. It has a message that a lot of people are going to relate to, and it's easily the best Christmas film, I think, to come out in years. There's a lot of fun Christmas films out there, but they're not ones that really do stick with me. Happiest Season is a film I think that's going to stick with a lot of people. I can see a lot of people rewatching this movie. I can see a lot of people thinking back to this movie, even years from now. I can definitely see that happening. There's a lot of quotes that people are going to say and things like that. I can definitely see this film resonating with a lot of people. Happiest Season is easily some of the most fun I've had with any film this year, and I'm definitely going to give it overall an A-. But over, guys, in my review of Happiest Season. The moment you guys saw this movie, all left your thoughts, and we'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. Okay, bye.